Hello and welcome back to Stupid Boy. In today's video, we are going to discuss future of some of the lightweight fighters, some of the top lightweight fighters in the UFC. First fighter that I am going to predict will have a match is Conor McGregor, of course. Conor McGregor has two fights left in the UFC where I think he will fight Dustin Poirier. I think this is the matchup that will make sense for him in terms of finance and in terms of matchmaking too, because he has to avenge that loss with Dustin Poirier. And with that history, they although Dustin Poirier is 2-1, but we all know what happened. Conor McGregor's leg snapped in two, and he had that injury where in his mind it is 1-1 and 1 because the other one is a doctor's stoppage. So Conor McGregor will have this match with Dustin Poirier. This will be his first match in the in the UFC final two matches. This is the first match that he will have. And I am really sorry for Michael Chandler for waiting for 2 years and never having this opportunity to get that red panty night and have the fight with Conor McGregor. And the second fight that I am going to predict is he will have another fight in the UFC. And although Nate Diaz is not in the UFC, I think he will have another fight with Nate Diaz and he will lose with Nate Diaz. This is my prediction of the fight itself, and this is how the career of Conor McGregor will end. I think he has a good chance of losing against Dustin Poirier, but I think he will lose against Nate Diaz. Call my predictions wild, but this is my prediction. He will lose against Nate Diaz, and that will be the end of his career. This is my prediction for Conor McGregor, and I think Conor McGregor should do more in terms of promoting himself as a fighter, because he's trying to become this movie star, and that's good for him but not good for UFC fans. I think he should try to say that he's going to fight in the UFC more often, even though he says that he's going to fight 4 times. But all the messages are implicating that he will take the boxing route. He will have another boxing match. Back in the day, he had the boxing match against Floyd Mayweather. So this is my prediction for Conor McGregor's future. Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier 4, and Conor McGregor versus Nathan Diaz. Nate, not Nate, because now his name is Nathan Diaz, as he implicates. Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz 3. This will be like both of them has the potential to become biggest pay-per-view in the UFC. Now the second one that I'm going to predict future for, the second lightweight that I'm going to predict future for, is Dustin Poirier. I think Dustin Poirier will fight Conor McGregor, of course, because I said that Conor McGregor will fight Dustin Poirier, so it just makes sense that Dustin Poirier will have this fight with Conor McGregor. But even earlier than that, I think he will have a fight with Islam Makhachev. And now that you see the trajectory, he will lose against Islam Makhachev. This is also my prediction, because I think Dustin Poirier is one of those rare fighters who had the fight with Khabib and he lost. He had the fight with Charles Oliveira and he lost. And he also had a title fight, although not a real title fight, against Justin Gaethje and he lost. So he lost in 3 title fights. He won the interim championship against Max Holloway, but that doesn't count because interim championship is, like in just interim championship. It's not real championship. So I think for that to happen, I think for Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier to happen, this just needs to happen, and he has to lose that fight against Islam Makhachev. And the reason why I say this, because it's very simple. Dustin Poirier said that he will never stop jumping guillotines in his fights. So this is what will happen. My prediction. Call me a bold predictor or bold prediction. My prediction as a bold prediction. This is what will happen. He will try to jump the guillotine against Islam Makhachev. Islam Makhachev will just shake him off and he will just be on top of Dustin Poirier and try to submit him in some fashion. And that will happen because, like, call me call me insane, but that those wrestling exchanges, if that were happening against Islam Makhachev, those wrestling exchanges that happened in the recent matchup against Benoit Saint Denis, if that happened against Islam Makhachev, I think Islam Makhachev would have submitted him. So I think this is a chance that he will try to jump the guillotine against Islam Makhachev, and he will lose the fight. Just like It won't take him four guillotines. It will be just like one guillotine and he will lose the fight. And that's how will happen. I think Islam Makhachev fight, and then Conor McGregor, and all, maybe he will win against Conor McGregor, or maybe he will lose. This is my bold prediction. Maybe Conor McGregor just knocks him out in the first round. Maybe this can happen because like Conor McGregor is of course coming off that you know injury, so he has lesser chances to win. But still, Conor McGregor is Conor McGregor. He can do crazy things, and I think he's way more powerful after coming off that injury, and he healed himself in a good way. He looks very strong, and maybe Dustin Poirier will win or lose that fight, and then straight after that he retires. So this is my prediction for Dustin Poirier. He will have two more fights and he will retire because he has nothing more, to win. I think the main motivation for him was winning the lightweight championship. That's why he tried, and now he will just stay for this. And when he loses, he will just have another fight with Conor McGregor because that fight will present itself, and he will lose. The third prediction for me is Charles Oliveira. The third fighter that I'm going to predict the future of is Charles Oliveira, because Charles Oliveira is someone who will always be my favorite. The reason is so simple. Charles Oliveira is like a dream fighter, to be honest, because I think he has one of the craziest title runs. I think his title run is so underrated. He defeated Dustin Poirier, he defeated Michael Chandler, he defeated Justin Gagey. So I think Charles Oliveira will have another title fight in the future because he is going to knock Arman Sarukian out. You know, Arman Sarukian. He will knock Arman Sarukian out. This is just me as a fan because I think I really like Charles Oliveira to win that fight, even though I know Arman Sarukian is a problem, and he may somehow be able to defeat. You know, somehow no. I mean, I think that fight is very competitive. I think Charles he can easily win. I mean, no, not easily, but I see him winning this fight somehow. Arman Sarukian can win this fight, and maybe who knows Charles Oliveira when he comes back. But I think this will happen. Like Charles Oliveira will win against Arman Sarukian. He will knock Arman Sarukian out. That's me as a fan of Charles Oliveira. That's how I want, to be honest. And then what will happen is that he will have another fight with Islam Makhachev, and he will win against Islam Makhachev because I really wanted that to happen too. And it will be like he will become the greatest lightweight of all time, because that's it for the resume. That's how your resume works. If you win against Makhachev, then you win against any version of Khabib, and for that to happen, I think Charles Oliveira is like the the best lightweight ever in the UFC history. And the fourth fighter that I am going to predict future is not Michael Chandler, because Michael Chandler is not, like, for me he's irrelevant because he just wasted 2 years of his prime. The fourth fighter I will predict the future of, and I think is very, very interesting. Although I am just thinking about Rafael Fiziev, I'm thinking about Matthews Gamrot, and I'm thinking about Arman Sarukian. And I think out of these three, although my favorite will be, of course, Rafael Fiziev, and then Matthews Gamrot, and then Arman Sarukian, because Arman Sarukian has a fight with Charles Oliveira, who I want to win. I think I will predict the future of Arman Sarukian because I think this man has some potential in the UFC. I think Arman Sarukian will, of course, this is my bold prediction, he will lose against Charles Oliveira, but he will somehow make a title dream come true. I think maybe like 4 years, 3 years, he will make his dream come true. He will become a lightweight champion. He loses against Charles Oliveira, then he wins against Matthews Gamrot. Matthews Gamrot versus uh, Matthews Gamrot versus Arman Sarukian 2. He wins that fight because I think like that fight was very competitive. And although I gave it for Matthews Gamrot, like other people, but I think Matthews Gamrot may lose against Arman Sarukian. And then he will have another fight with someone, I think maybe against Justin Gagey or someone like that, and he wins that fight, and then he will have another chance at the title, and he will win against whoever the champion is. Of course, I don't want it to be Charles Oliveira because I predicted Charles Oliveira will become champion again. This is my bold prediction. This is how I want it to be, and this is how I think the future of these lightweights will happen. If you don't agree with me, you can always like comment what points do you not agree with, and why you think that the my prediction, whatever I said about these fighters, are wrong. And of course, Michael Chandler versus Conor McGregor will never happen. And this is what we do in this channel. We talk about martial arts. I recently made a Patreon where you can just donate for me, like some things where I will just be able to, like keep the production more, be- keep the production better, because the production quality is absolutely trash, as you can see, but the quality isn't trash. So that's it for the channel. That's it for the video. If you like the content, please like, share, and subscribe. Peace.